Good evening. Let's call the June 24th Parks and Recreation Commission meeting to order at 5:31 p.m. Starting with the roll call.
All right, commissioners, when I call your name, please indicate if you are present. Commissioner Admire.
Present.
We've got Vice Chair Coladonato excused, Commissioner Davis,
Present.
Commissioner Diaz is excused, Commissioner Finland,
Present.
Commissioner Meyer, I'm not sure if she's joining us or not, Chair Moralia,
Present.
and Commissioner Nagaya.
Present.
So we've got all members present with Commissioners Coladonato and Diaz excused, and we're waiting on Commissioner Meyer.
The agenda was posted on Tuesday, 6/18, in accordance with whatever rule that is. Has everybody had a chance to look at our minutes? Some may. Any changes, questions? Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
Was the
Motion approved.
Second. Great.
in Finland, and then I'll just do a roll call vote on the minutes. Commissioner Meyer,
Approved.
Commissioner Davis,
Approved.
Commissioner Finland,
Approved.
Chair Moralia,
Approved.
and Commissioner Nagaya.
Approved.
Our favorite part of the meeting. Public comment. This time has been set aside for members of the public to address Parks and Recreation Commission on agenda items and items of general interest within the subject matter jurisdiction of the commission. Although the commission values your comments pursuant to the Brown Act, it generally cannot take any action on items not listed on the posted agenda. 3 minutes are assigned for each speaker. Do we have anybody here who wants to make a public comment? Come on forward.
Thank you. Okay. And then you'll press the button right there on the microphone and it will light up green.
It's green.
Uh-huh.
Am I good to go?
Mhm.
I'm Ned Barker, Board Chair for the Baristo Neighborhood Organization and a board member of One PS. Speaking for our neighborhood, we appreciate the shade structures, the new landscaping, the planned playground equipment for Baristo Park. Thank you. And also at your last meeting, you added shade for the swing sets. So thank you for that as well. Baristo Park is surrounded by families with children. It should be a safe and usable space for recreational activities, picnics, and, community gatherings. Equally important is the park's overall attractiveness, as well as unrestricted access from its fenced-in west and south sides. Our neighbors reside in 21 residential developments, 7 of which are apartment complexes. Many restaurants, shops, hotels, including the Arenas District, are very close to the park. Moreover, the city has targeted the Baristo neighborhood for the majority of its affordable and workforce housing developments to meet its state mandated responsibilities. Baristo is ideal for this development because of its infrastructure and its proximity to downtown jobs. Yet, Baristo Park remains our only green space. We envision a park with an infrastructure that supports activities and uses of the city's most densely populated neighborhood. However, the primary issue with Baristo Park, as well described in the 2014 Parks and Recreation Master Plan, is that the park is cut in half by the Riverside County managed storm channel, surrounded by broken chain link fences. The Baristo neighborhood wants to transform this built-in eyesore into a visual and functional asset. With the newly announced community funding from Measure J, we believe the time is right for this transformation. So far, we've been focused on feasibility, and to that end, we've met with Riverside County flood control engineers, walked the site together, and discussed methods to achieve some of our objectives. We've also looked at pedestrian-friendly flood channels in Paris and along CV Link. We've garnered the support of the Agua Caliente tribe of Cahuilla Indians for the a plaque or monument explaining the origin of the name, which is Baristo Sol Santiago, early 20th century tribe member. We will address the Public Arts Commission as well on August 1st. And we're actively searching for an engineering firm with Riverside County flood control experience to better understand feasibility and costs. We're asking you to designate a staff member, commission member, or both to provide guidance to us as we move forward with our Measure J application. Thank you very much. If needed, paper copies of what I said.
Perfect. We will distribute those. I think they already have them, right?
Thank you. The maps and everything he's talking about were in the packets.
Perfect, yes.
Do we have any more public comments?
Let's see if
Online?
we have anyone who's joining us via Zoom. So if you're joining us via Zoom tonight, if you can use the raised hand feature, if you'd like to make a public comment. No, we do not have any additional public comment.
Okay. Moving on to the director's report.
Yeah. So a review of some of the recent council items that involve Parks and Recreation. So at the June 13th council meeting, City Council approved our new Parks and Recreation commissioners. So we will have 4 new commissioners that will be starting in July. The playground equipment for Baristo Park was approved. The City Council also approved a boards and commission code of conduct. And then they also received a presentation on the FY25 mid-year budget adjustment. On Monday, June 17th, there was a special City Council meeting with the boards and commission presentations. And on the next slide, I'll show some photos of that. But before I advance to that slide, some things that are coming up this week, Thursday, June 27th. City Council will be receiving a presentation on an update on the Parks and Recreation Master Plan from our planning consultants, KDI. We also have on the agenda a consent item for an amendment with our Kimley Horn agreement for the pickleball courts. And then we have the action item for the FY25 mid-year budget adjustment. We have a couple items that are in our queue that we need to get to council. We've got our pickleball concept, and right now we've got that tentatively scheduled for the July 9th City Council meeting. Of course, we'll have our swim center concept, which will also have to go to City Council, and then the dog park concept. So back to the June 17th special meeting of City Council. So on Monday, June 17th, so just last Monday, Chair Moralia and our amazing commission were there to provide an overview of what the commission has been up to over the past year. And Chair Moralia, did you want to say anything on this item?
Like what? It's an interesting thing to see all the commissions together for sure. I hope that that means all of us will work together a little better, because as you can imagine, especially Parks and Rec, we touch a lot of different commissions. So it's nice to meet those people, see who they are, talk to them in person, learn what challenges they have. I really thought the meeting was terrific, so I'm a fan.
Perfect, thank you. At each of our meetings, we also like to give an update on our highlights of some of the maintenance and repairs that have taken place over the past month since the previous commission meeting. So this is obviously not an exhaustive list, but some of those highlights include the daily opening and checking of all of the park restrooms, miscellaneous restroom repairs, the blowing off of all of the play court surfaces, power washing picnic areas, playgrounds, as well as the dog park, tree trimming, some trash cleanup, watering trees, and the cleaning out of the park barbecues. In a couple different locations, the vandalized lights at the Demuth Park restrooms were fixed. Lenses were fabricated for the lights over at Ruth Hardy Park, and a bench repair was done at the Wellness Park.
Wait, are those the Ruth Hardy Park tennis court lights?
Those are the lights that are at the.
They're near there.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely, and that's just the lenses needed to be
Yep.
replaced because we no longer could procure those parts. The lights at the skate park, most of the lights actually have to be replaced with the lift. Some of the lights can be replaced via a very tall ladder. So
Yeah.
some of those lights were just replaced that were reachable by a very tall ladder as well. Some cleanup highlights. Our crews demoed the concrete from the water features that were obsolete in our parks. And obviously we have new water features planned, so don't anyone panic by that pile of rubble there. New water features will be coming. So replacing those areas, the crews used sand and topsoil and then covered with turf. Those parks were Duluth, Sunrise, Victoria, and Desert Highland. And then here are some additional photos of that. So the parks look great again, and more planning to do with our park enhancement ad hoc on those water features. Downtown, the Rainmaker Fountain was serviced again, as well as some work with cranes, as you can see, and lifts. Over at the stadium, new steps were built, and the stairways and walkways were coated with an epoxy with some slip treads that were added as well. You can see on the left. All of these things happen, and I know a lot of times the public doesn't take notice of everything that happens. So we just like to always provide these updates because some of these things get missed. Over at the Wellness Park, signage was replaced. You can see on the right. The Cerritos Field mound was installed. The pickleball courts were cleaned up following a main break at Demuth. Trees were removed that were damaging a wall. We had a very large beehive that needed to be removed, and wood chips were added at Bristow Park as well.
Was the beehive the one at Ruth Hardy?
Beehive, I don't remember where the beehive was. David, do you remember by any
I
chance?
believe that was one of them.
Oh, there's more than one. Okay.
Yes.
I know of the one at Ruth Hardy.
Next month, we're gonna report on that next other one. That's been resolved. Drinking fountains replaced, light bulbs at the Demuth pickleball court, some plumbing repairs at the police station. And then the removal of the damaged vents at the Ruth Hardy tennis courts as well. And that's it for some of the maintenance and facility highlights. And just again, a reminder on that one, that is not an exhaustive list of all of the work that the crews have been doing every day since our last meeting. So what's been happening over at Parks and Recreation as well? We've got some updates of some of the activities that we've done since the last meeting. This one actually occurred on May 10th, and I think I forgot to mention it at last month's commission meeting, but we did a special Mother's Day Pamper Night event at the Demuth Community Center, which included a special yoga event as well. And one of the things that I just wanted to remind the commission, as well as the public, is that we actually have yoga classes with Mariana 6 days a week. So for those individuals who are interested in doing yoga Mondays through Saturdays, you can get a punch card with 10 classes for $100. So if you've not done that yet, please check that out, because that's a great resource that we have for the community. We kicked off our summer activities with our second annual Dip into Summer event at the Swim Center on Saturday, May 25th. Watermelon tosses and everything. We did our second annual Hike with a Ranger event on June 1st. Some photos from that activity. On June 7th, we did our almost summer vacation pizza party at the James O. Jesse Center. And there were some images of that event. Summer camp, we kicked off 4 summer camps. So we've got a camp at the skate park, at James O. Jesse, at Sunrise Park. And then we've got the camp for the little kids as well, Camp Chickapoo at Sunrise Park. So we are in full swing on summer camps through August 7th at the skate park, and then everywhere else through August 2nd. And then some photos of the camp kickoff over at Sunrise, and us receiving a really generous donation of $2,500 from the Sunrise Park neighborhood.
Oh, cool.
So thank you again very much. And that helps any needy kid get into our summer camp programs for free. Since our last meeting, we had this second workshop on Parks and Recreation Master Planning. So Wednesday, May 22nd at the James O. Jesse Center. We were out in full swing with KDI. interacting with the community to find out what they wanted in our parks and recreational facilities and parks. And here's some images of that event. More. Just a few more activities. Some great shirts there in that shot too.
Just one. I can't see it. What are you talking about?
And then next for Parks and Recreation Master Planning. So we did the first workshop on February 22nd, the second workshop on May 22nd. The next two workshops are happening this week. So tomorrow, June 25th, we're doing our first virtual workshop, and that will be at 12 p.m. via Zoom. On Wednesday, June 26th, we'll be having another in-person workshop, and that will be at 5:30 p.m. at the Demuth Community Center. The fourth Parks and Recreation Master Planning Workshop will be scheduled for September 24th, and we're working on the location for that one right now. But otherwise, two master planning workshops this week.
Do we know how many people signed up for the Zoom one? Or do you not see that till you start it?
They don't need to sign up in advance.
They just.
Yeah, yep, so anyone, yeah, can just sort of join with the Zoom link, and there's the QR code that you can scan. And I would say you can, we wanted to make sure that people who might be traveling during the summer, who may not be able to attend an in-person workshop, had the ability to attend. But if you attend the Zoom workshop, you're still welcome to attend the in-person workshop as well. So don't feel like you can only do one or the other. We did a special Lego building with Dad event at the Demuth Community Center for Father's Day weekend. So that was on Friday, June 14th, when we did that, a well-attended event. For Juneteenth, in partnership with the Black History Committee, there were a number of events that took place. There was the Juneteenth pageant. There was also the Juneteenth celebration, which was held on Saturday, June 15th. And then there was also a concert in the downtown park. So there are some images from the Juneteenth activities. I've got some save the dates, so some things that are coming up that we just want to remind everybody about. We have launched our annual summer dive-in movie series. So we do 4 movies every summer at the Swim Center. So this past Saturday, we did movie number 1, Wakanda Forever. And we've got 3, in case you missed that one, we've got 3 more movies coming up. So July 20th, August 17th, and September 21st. And these are free events at the Swim Center. So you can hop in the pool and enjoy a movie. 4th of July is upon us. So we are doing 5 days of special events this year. So July 3rd through July 7th. So Wednesday through Sunday. And I think we've provided you with a flyer that summarizes all of those activities, and then I'll just briefly walk you through them. We're kicking off our July 4th week activities with the ribbon cutting Victoria Park Playground. So we're calling that Kid Fest 2024, and that will be Wednesday, July 3rd at 11 a.m. until 3 p.m. There will be music, there will be lots of games and free food. So we encourage everybody to come out. The playground is obviously open already, so some kids may already be over there getting a sneak peek and having fun, but this will be the city's official ribbon cutting on the playground.
It looks amazing if you guys haven't been there.
It really does
Really
look
looks
amazing.
amazing.
And then later in this presentation, we've got some photos as well.
Oh,
For
good.
those
Good,
who
good,
haven't been able to get over there yet. On July 4th, we have a bunch of activities happening in Sunrise Park. So we're having a pool party at 3 p.m. And for those who actually want to be in the pool and watch the fireworks from the pool, you are welcome to do that as well. Over at Power Stadium, we've got the game starting at 6 o'clock. There'll be a concert in Sunrise Park starting at 7:30, and then fireworks starting at 9:15. So that's all happening on Thursday, July 4th. If you missed that, on Friday, July 5th, you can head over to the Swim Center to do a dive-in movie, which will be Kung Fu Panda. And swim will start at 7 p.m. with the movie going on at dusk when it's dark enough for the screen. On Saturday, July 6th in the downtown park, there will also be a concert. And then on Sunday, July 7th, we will have a movie in Ruth Hardy, and that will be Ferris Bueller's Day Off for those who've not seen that movie yet or who just enjoy it immensely. So that will complete our 5 days of 4th of July activities. We are gearing up for back to school planning as well. So we've got our 2 annual backpack giveaways at the Demuth Community Center that will be held on Saturday, July 27th from 11 to 3. And then at JOJ, we'll be doing the backpack giveaway on Friday, August 2nd from 5 to 7 p.m.
How do people donate the backpacks and stuff?
So we take donations and then Parks and Recreation will purchase anything that we don't have donations for. And then at Demuth, for instance, in addition to backpacks, there's also free haircuts, back to school haircuts and things like that. So it's kind of like a whole resource fair to make sure all of our community kids are ready for the school year. Lots of recruitments, some underway and many that will be coming up. So we've done quite a few rounds of lifeguard recruitments, and we're still doing our lifeguard trainee program too, meaning that if someone does not have the lifeguard certification, they're welcome to apply to be a lifeguard. And then the city will take care of the process of getting them certified to be a lifeguard for for the individuals that are selected. We're still working on recruiting for the assistant director position. We've got the 2 project manager positions that we are recruiting for. We have a program coordinator position that just posted last week, an administrative assistant position that posted, I'm trying to remember, that one may have been about 2 weeks ago now. We will need to recruit for park rangers again. As you know, we have acting park rangers right now. So we have staff that are serving as acting park rangers, but we will need to do that formal recruitment. We do have a manager position for the Demuth Community Center that we still need to have posted and do that recruitment. And we have some upcoming and a current recreation program assistant vacancy. So a lot of vacancies still in Parks and Recreation and a lot of work to still do on those recruitments.
Do you still have your interim assistant director or?
We
is
do
she-
not, yeah.
She's gone, right? Okay.
She left, I think, in April.
Hmm.
So we're trying to get these positions hired quickly. But obviously working on the recruitments does take our time away from getting our work done. However, we can't quite get all the work done without the positions being filled. And so it's a bit of a push and pull
So
at all times.
how many are currently in the queue?
That's a good question. So lifeguards, assistant director, project managers, we are looking at an existing candidate pool from a other citywide recruitment. Program coordinator is posted and administrative assistant is posted. So everything above there is currently posted.
Okay. It looks like there's some movement then. Okay, that's great. And is the city helping with that interview process?
I would say that, yeah, so the city's process, I think, remains the same for how we do our recruitments. So HR will do the posting for us, and then they will send over the candidates to us to sort of schedule all of the interviews. So that process remains the same. So there is I think what you're getting at, there's a heavy lift from the staff that has the vacancy to get those positions filled. So after HR gets the position posted, it really then becomes a workload sort of issue for the department then to make sure that the recruitment is being filled by doing all of the interviews. Since any more questions on our recruitments, we know we have a lot to do in terms of our recruitments. Okay. I think that is the end of the director's report.
Well done. You're not done though, because next is
Unfortunately, it's
the fiscal year 24 year in review presentation.
Okay, so everyone just still stay cozy in your seat. So at every June meeting, it's end of the fiscal year, so we always like to sort of look back to see what we accomplished over the fiscal year. So I'm just going to provide you a highlight sort of year in review. This is absolutely not everything that we've done, because that would have taken too long to actually compile. So we'll look at some of the projects and programs that we did first, sort of a trip down memory lane. So last July, July is National Parks and Recreation Month. So we kicked off that fiscal year with our first Parks and Recreation Department open house, which was held at the Duluth Community Center. And our open house was really focused on making sure that the community knew what types of programs we offered, as well as which projects we were working on as well. You can see our pickleball crew up there talking about the pickleball project. And then we also had our architect, Maria Song from the Swim Center there to provide the first community sort of meeting on the preliminary concepts for the Swim Center. So that was what we kicked off in July. A few months later, we installed lounge chairs at the Swim Center. So we had previously purchased the blue Adirondack chairs, and then we procured some lounge chairs as well. Mid-September through mid-October, Hispanic Heritage Month. So we rolled out a number of events and programs at the Duluth Community Center in recognition of Hispanic Heritage Month. September through December, we do our annual grass over seeding. So we completed that, of course, for multiple parks. And this is how amazing our dog park looked in December when it reopened. And then we will do our annual grass over seeding again this fall. October, you approved the new playground equipment concept for Victoria Park. And there's an image of what Victoria Park looked like before. Also at the October meeting, you approved the playground concept equipment for Duluth Park Playground. So a lot of playground work. We installed a new ground cover at the Duluth Large Dog Park. So a new layer of DG in October. In November, we did sand replenishment at the Sunrise Park Playground to make sure that the kids had a nice sand surface around that existing play structure. In November, we installed the shade structure at the Duluth Large Dog Park, and that was a Measure J funded project, a 40-foot diameter shade structure. November, we also, with Kimley Horn, kicked off the project to do the larger 7 different capital improvement projects for Duluth Park, including the dog parks, the parking lot, the stage area, and all of the ADA work that needs to be done. November 8th, we did our first pickleball court outreach meeting at the Duluth Community Center, very well attended, with Kimley Horn presenting their preliminary concept. On December 5th, we did our second, in theory, Swim Center Community Outreach meeting, Maria Song over at the Leisure Center. December 12th, we went back to do a second pickleball community outreach meeting with updated plans from Kimley Horn. In December, we also officially kicked off our Parks and Recreation sort of master planning with KDI coming to the December Parks and Rec Commission meeting and providing an update on the 4 teams that we would be working with KDI leading the project engagement agency, which is an urban planning firm really focused on the open space design, pros, working on the needs assessment, as well as different revenue streams for us, and ETC being focused on collecting data and doing an online survey. We installed benches underneath the Duluth Dog Park new shade structure. And then you can see on the right, we painted them blue as well to match the other concrete site furnishings in the park. February, Black History Month, we did a new campaign at the Swim Center to highlight some important swimmers. So that was the first time we did that, a special campaign specifically for the Swim Center. We completed the walking path for the James O. Jesse Community Center, also a Measure J funded project. So there is the paved walking path, and that was between December through February. February 22nd, we did our third pickleball outreach meeting, which really ended up being pretty much our final concept. February through March, CPRS, which is the California Parks and Recreation Society, held its annual conference here in Palm Springs, and our staff helped participate in some of those activities. The conference had over 1,400 attendees and 200 exhibitors, so we were able to sort of get our Parks and Recreation name out there with a bunch of industry professionals as well. March with Women's History Month, we also did a new campaign for our parks, highlighting women. In March, we installed the 2 shade structures over the Bristow Park playground. We did a lot of shade over the past year. We did in March the Sunrise Park Playground resurfacing project, so the rubberized surfacing was completely replaced there in March. The basketball court was also resurfaced at Ruth Hardy Park. April 2nd, we did our first Demuth Dog Park Community Outreach meeting. April 23rd, we did second, but in theory, the third swim center community outreach meeting with the revised concept. LED lighting project was in essence completed in April, with the exception of some site cleanup work. The second community outreach meeting for the Demuth Dog Parks was completed on April 29th. Playground concept was developed for the Bristow Park Playground just at the May meeting. Landscape conversions were completed or underway in this photo at Bristow Park. And this is for our 5 parks that are getting the landscape conversions. Also at Victoria Park. And then landscape conversions at James Lou Jesse, our Desert Highland Park. Bigger things, the playground equipment at Victoria Park. So on the right there, you can see what the playground looks like without the fencing around it, and on the left side where we started with those very large shade structure support columns. And then Demuth Park Playground now has fencing around it, and the crews are out there to get started on replacing the playground equipment at Demuth Park. In addition to all of that, we did what feels like hundreds and hundreds of special events and activities. And this presentation would end up being way too long if I went through all of those, but obviously I'm sure everyone has their favorites. We had World Art Day. Of course, we had our annual Festival of Lights, the Veterans Day Parade. We joined the 1PS picnic and many, many, many other things. So that is a lot of the programs and activities that we did on the administration sort of side of the commission. So in FY24, we had 11 Parks and Recreation Commission meetings. We also set up 5 ad hocs for this fiscal year to help guide us in those key areas. We did Dog Park Master Plan, Park Enhancements, Pickleball, and the Swim Center. We also worked over the past year on refining our operations at the Swim Center with the hiring 2 of our first ever aquatics manager. One of the pilots we rolled out over the past year was to modify the hours for the Swim Center and to create peak season hours. So from October 4th through April 27th, Monday through Saturday, we opened 1 hour early to try to meet the demands during the busier time of year. And then what we found after that, with the additional sort of lifeguard resources that we have, that we were able to keep our pilot peak hours as our new standard hours. So instead of opening at 7 a.m., we now open at 6 a.m. from Monday through Saturdays, and Sunday remains the same from 8 to 3. We also participated in 2 different vendor fairs this past year to help the community and businesses know how they can actually work with the City of Palm Springs Parks and Recreation Department. So as a department, of course, we hire vendors to do a variety of different things, from printing promotional materials, perhaps playground equipment, performers at events. So we attended two different vendor fairs, one on October 18th and one on April 17th to help communicate how different vendors can work with the Parks and Recreation Department. We updated our signage too over the past year with QR codes to make our signage a little bit friendlier and more informational so that people could scan it to get information about the status of projects. So we rolled those out in various different parks. We received a lot of feedback over the past year about access to information for the commission meeting. So we cleaned up the webpage for the Parks and Rec Commission. And we divided it into sort of a spreadsheet so that there are now 5 different links that people can click on. If they just want to look at the agenda for the meeting, you can click on that, or you can look at the correspondence, or you can click on the link to look at the YouTube video, to look at the report, which is the presentation from the meeting, or the minutes from each meeting. So we, based on public comment, we made that a little bit easier. And then we worked on a number of recruitments with HR on getting those posted. Some of those positions we recruited for, and then we had staff turnover. So we need to recruit for them as well. And that completes the FY24 look back at everything that we did. We did a lot of community outreach, a lot of projects. Kudos to all of you.
Did we, are we retaining information on the scanning at the parks? Like how many people are using
We
it?
do.
Are they
Yeah.
sending in information after they scan, or are we keeping track of any of
Yeah, it's
that?
a good question. The data we have are how many times each sign was scanned.
Right?
But beyond that, we don't have any other data in terms of the number of scans.
Because it doesn't link to like the app that people can use to say the water fountain's broken or whatever,
No.
right? It's two
It does
separate.
not, yeah. So
Okay.
it basically, when they scan it, it goes to the Parks and Recreation webpage that might be providing the photos of the project or the status.
Right,
of
because
the
some of them
project.
said like it's reopening spring of 2024 or whatever the
Mhm,
update was.
mhm,
Okay.
mhm. But I could look at that data to see, how many people have sort of scanned the QR code. I will say, I think we've gotten some mixed reviews as to whether or not the community likes.
Likes it, yeah.
Likes to sort of get information from a QR code, and we'll just keep testing it out for a little while longer to see if it's a helpful way to get information or not.
I'm curious to know which park had the most.
And I'd also have to look at how long the signs were out there. Like the Demuth one was out there pretty long.
Oh,
So I think
yeah.
if I look at the data, I may see that one may have gotten the most amount of scans. But I'll look to see what I can find out about those scans. Mhm.
In the first slide, you had I'm sorry, before you move on, in the very first slide, you had the Parks Month sort of open house.
Yes, for the National Recreation,
Right.
yes.
Is that happening in this July as well?
We're not doing
Okay.
an open house this July. And that's it.
Well
Any more
done.
questions on FY24? Perfect. Busy.
I'm like, I feel like you keep going.
Sadly, I'm
Because
sorry,
like
it's still
Parks
me.
and Recreation project updates is
Sadly,
still
it
you.
is still me, sorry. When there's other people. But we do have David and Aaron, so we'll get a little bit more exciting. There'll be more people talking. We have some photos of some of our projects, some updates on them. So these are just sort of our standing sites that sort of list the projects, and we can come back to these to see if there's anything that you want an update on. Otherwise, I wanted to share for the Bristow Park Playground. You approved, of course, the concept for the equipment. You did, of course, request that there be a shade structure installed over the swing set. That project did go to council, and council approved that. Our park enhancement ad hoc, which Commissioner Nagaya is probably going to mention in the ad hoc report, but has been working on the colors for the playground equipment. So these are some of those renderings right now, because when Miracle presented to us, they had just sort of their standard palette. So Commissioner Nagaya and Commissioner Diaz have been working on those colors. So I'm just showing you here some of those updates from Miracle Recreation, and there is the integrated shade structure over the swing set. And then another shot of more colorful playground equipment. What we found from Miracle is that Palm Springs likes more colorful playground equipment than other cities. So we sort of have to go in and sort of hand select each color for each component, as opposed to doing like the 2 or 3 color playground sets that most cities pick. Are there any questions before I leave Baristo?
I can tell you Baristo came up in our Parks and Recreation Task Force meeting. I pointed to it as a success story, because if anybody can recall what Baristo Park used to look like and what it looks like now, it is
Great
definitely a success story. So I said to that task force, why don't we look at what did we do?
Mhm.
Because we're having some of these same challenges in, say, Sunrise Park. So let's look at some of the steps we took to get Baristo Park to where it is and apply it somewhere else.
Great idea. David, Aaron, is there anything that I've not mentioned on Baristo?
Not
on
on
Beaver
Baristo,
Hill?
but unless you have something.
Oh, either. I've got, next I have,
only-
next in the queue.
Thing that I
Desert
heard,
Highlands.
so right now is that the splash pad is coming out of there and we will be
Oh, yes.
continuing the meandering pathway.
Oh, cool.
That is the
Where's the
last one.
splash pad going?
well, the old one is coming
The
out.
old one,
right?
That's the last
Are we
one.
putting a new one there? Or
We
no?
still,
Not
that's
immediately,
the
so
project that we have to work on.
Gotcha.
We have to
Yeah,
figure
okay.
out the water
Cool.
features for all our park locations.
And we are looking at a general cleanup of that park and
Mhm.
coming up with some ideas, so.
And we obviously got the presentation from, yes, the neighborhood group too, with their ideas. Desert Highland landscape conversions kicked off in early June. Those will be completed by the end of the month. I don't think they're completed yet, or are they?
They'll be completed by the end of the week.
End of the week. Oh, yes, because that's the end of June already.
Yeah.
We're already there. Welcome, July. Yes. And then coming up for Desert Highland, we still need to work on the incorporation of the exercise equipment, and we are working on ideas for the turf conversion and perhaps fencing for the ball field as well. So we've got a lot of things in the planning stages for Desert Highland. Victoria Park landscape conversions, these are just some images of Victoria Park if you've not been there lately. And then we've got a few more photos of the playground equipment coming up. Anything else on landscape conversions?
I don't.
No,
Is
there
the
are
totem pole gone? I thought I heard the totem pole was going away.
Still there.
Not
Victoria?
Victoria request.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still there. That's a few days ago.
And then here is, of course, where we started with the playground installation. Progress photos.
I love that green.
It's
Yeah,
so
it's
good.
Great.
Yeah. It can be seen literally from your plane, by the way.
Yeah, one of our staff members sent us a really amazing photo when she flew in or out, I forget which direction, I was probably coming back in to Palm Springs, and it's just sort of a sea of tan and brown, and then there's this one little area that has this amazing green circus structure. And lo and behold, it's Victoria Park
Cool.
Playground. It looks really amazing, really striking in the landscape. So there is some of that equipment. Shots of the very colorful equipment. And then just a reminder, the ribbon cutting, while the playground is open now, ribbon cutting on July 3rd. And of course, all of our playgrounds will be getting new equipment, so we'll be refreshing all of the playgrounds. Demuth is next. We've already worked on the plans for Bristow, and then I believe we are doing the planning for Hardy next. Playground. Anything else on Victoria?
The only other item on Victoria that I have is that we brought to the Historic Preservation Board a request to remove the restroom and replace it with an accessible new restroom. They did approve that, so we are in process to partner with the engineering department to bring a new restroom to Victoria.
Cool. So it'll look kind of like the new ones at Demuth, I assume.
Correct.
Yeah,
And
that restroom is.
And that project we have on our capital project list. So at those lists that were sort of at the beginning that I went through, that is one of the ones that is on there, the restroom at Victoria Park. Good, good. Demuth Park, we already saw these a little bit earlier, but this is Demuth Park. And the signage right now at Demuth Park Playground has the QR code as well. And indicates which other 5 playgrounds are currently open that our kiddos can go to while Demuth is being constructed. And I think right now on timeline for Demuth, we're looking at, I'll ask Aaron.
We're looking at the end of August, early September. They began today.
Nice.
Yeah, I already saw stuff knocked down.
Yeah, they're moving quickly.
All right. Is Demuth. Dance studio, refinishing the wood floor. So as we looked at this at the last meeting, I think we didn't have the timeline for it, and we do have the timeline now. And Aaron is managing this project, so he can give you an update on the potential timeline.
Yeah, they are scheduled to start August 12th and it should be about 3 weeks in there.
So much needed love, for that dance floor studio. And that's actually where, Mariana does her yoga classes as well. Those are all of the pictures I have in the project update section. Are there any other questions on any projects, or David or Aaron, do you have any other projects that we've not addressed that we want to talk about tonight?
You did a good job covering everything so far, but I'm happy to answer any questions if you have questions.
All right, well then not to worry, we have more on tonight's agenda that's not me.
Like ad hoc reports, perhaps?
Ad hoc reports. For this
Let's start with
one, I have
park
a
and
little slide here, if that helps you guys out too.
Okay, we'll start with me.
Start with park enhancement.
So Baristo, we are closer to having the color scheme figured out. I'm trying to make it look less like Pepto-Bismol or nuclear medicine, more vibrant. So just a couple of more tweaks and then we should be good to go. So that'll be moving forward. This morning, our lovely Janice Lopez pointed out to me that they started working on the Demuth Park playground.
Mhm.
So it's fenced off, as we mentioned earlier, and I drove by it this afternoon. They had already taken apart most of it. So
Yeah.
they are
Love it.
pushing forward, and so
Mhm.
looking forward to seeing that come to fruition.
Perfect. What do you want next?
Any questions about park enhancements?
We're looking good. We're getting shade playgrounds.
Swim center, is that you?
Yep, yes, not much. We're still kind of on a holding pattern, waiting for the initial proposal.
Yeah, we're at the cost estimating
Yep,
phase, right?
yep.
Mhm.
Okay. So dog parks is me.
And then swim center, I think the one other thing, we want to work, I think, a little bit more with our ad hoc on some of the operations to make sure that we continue to sort of improve our operations at the swim center. So that's one of the things that we'll be reaching out to the ad hoc on.
And currently swim center is you and I?
No,
Is that right?
Susie.
Oh, okay.
Susan
So
said
we'll have
it'll-
to, we'll figure that
In
out. in
July, yeah, select our new ad hocs.
Dog parks, the Demuth Dog Park is also at the cost estimating phase. Master planning, that's you, right?
Yep. The key dates are listed there. The only other piece of context I would offer. The meeting we had at James O. Jesse in May, invite John and Yvonne to weigh in, but I thought it was really well attended.
That was really good.
And I thought the first one was also well attended, but this was a great turnout, really good feedback. I thought the community was well represented and a lot of good input for the consulting team. And so that was encouraging to see. Obviously, we've got 2 sessions this week and then an update to city council coming up in later this week. So kind of the next 3 days, we have master planning activities taking place.
Cool. And last but not least, pickleball.
Pickleball is a work in progress still. We're essentially, we're on schedule and we have to look at some cost measures with regard to making the project come to fruition. And we'll be reaching out to Measure J and myself and Yvonne and Myra Madsen with regard to addressing the cost measures that we need to explore. And we're hoping that as we get into early July, we'll be ready for a presentation for the city council for the next major step on that project. So it's still on course. It's essentially on schedule and just keeping my fingers crossed for the next few stages.
For $3 million to fall out of the sky.
2 million for sure.
2 million, okay.
And the city council meeting, that's a Tuesday instead of Thursday? at least?
Yes,
Okay.
that is a Tuesday. And that is tentative, but that's when we're thinking we would be ready, with going to Measure J tomorrow. Okay.
That covered ad hocs. Commissioner comments. Would anybody like to say anything? In addition, like welcome to summer.
Welcome to summer and happy Independence Day.
Yes. Anybody else?
And then one of the things we
Yeah.
want to point out is that this meeting is Commissioner Meyer's last meeting.
She
So
started at the same time as Michael and I think. That's correct.
very nice.
Yeah,
So
enough for
there's-
you guys, evidently.
I hear she got a job and is moving.
Yeah.
So we had nothing to do for her.
So when she goes back and watches this YouTube video, we just want to thank her for all of her
Absolutely,
service.
definitely.
She really helped us.
Just say
out quite a bit.
something?
Of course.
Susie, she was a fantastic asset to this commission. She worked very hard and was very interested and very enthusiastic always with whatever project or endeavor she was pursuing on behalf of the community. She embraced our project and worked very hard and her enthusiasm was contagious. So she will be missed, but we wish her the best of luck.
Agreed.
Mm.
And we should congratulate all of us on a year's work. Well done,
Like,
everybody.
congratulate all.
Well, that means I'm calling for an adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
The motion was. I need a,
That was a motion to adjourn.
and then a second, okay, perfect.
So the next meeting will be at 5:30 on Monday, July the 22nd. Thanks, everyone.
And we're nothing in August,
We're
correct?
newbies. Correct, we're Darth and Chris.